We'll also show you the image of dendritogenesis if possible.
Yes, play it.
Play it. Here, look at what happens. On the left, you have what you are seeing here is an actual photo, so to speak, which provides a detailed look at the complex arrangement of neural pathways deep inside the human brain. And then if you look over on the right side, we have carefully illustrated exactly what happens and how a certain situation is processed and remembered by the brain's network. For example, when you are young children experiencing something for the very first time. While you are children, that neuron in the middle there, the one with the arrow under it, is completely free. And whether your mom tells you, no, that is not how it is done, or your dad tells you, go ahead and do it, or even if it happens the other way around, where your mom tells you, do it, and your dad tells you, that's not right. The neuron is absolutely floating and entirely free, and every child has the inherent right to decide to follow either one specific path, the main highway of positives, or the main highway of negatives. When we look at this specific situation, inside the child's head, there still isn't a cohesive network formed of sensations, complex emotions, and assigned meanings, simply because the child has no conceptual framework, no clear idea of what is what and how things are in the world. And here is the crucial moment. If you have already formed some specific ideas, some internal sensations, some deep understandings, and some assigned meanings of what is truly fair, what is beautiful, what is aesthetic, what is moral, and so on and so forth.
Right and wrong, most.
Right and wrong in very general terms.
To say.
Yes. The neurons start, depending on what is right and wrong, to jump more and more often to one of the two highways. And one of the highways, let's say in general, we are looking for ways to survive and to protect ourselves. For this reason, in most cases, we seek out the highway of negative thoughts in order to protect ourselves and survive in the world in which we have manifested. In this entire complex psychological situation, the neuron usually fuses with this main highway of negative thoughts. And then, even if you truly want change, even if you have the genuine, heartfelt desire to initiate something truly positive, even if you want, let's say, to look at your partner in a completely different way than you ever did before, since the neuron has already fused with the main highway of negative thoughts, it simply cannot break away from this main highway and move toward the positive. In other words, as a direct result of this, the neuron is now what we call completely bound and securely locked into the respective established pattern.
Let's call it a section.
Yes, and to the respective pattern that you have accepted and chosen. In this situation, even if you want to say that something is good, you'll just say, well, it's okay. Even if you want to say that something is pleasant or unpleasant, yes, you can turn it off now. You will accordingly stick to the pattern you have chosen in this whole situation. In a way like this, if it is at all possible, to observe both of these distinct elements at the very same time. In this whole complex situation, you are required, if you truly want to make a real change, which is exactly why we've gathered here at these awakenings, you're required to make a conscious effort to break the corresponding neuron where it has fused. And precisely for this reason, at the Cogitality Academy, there is an entire week, if not an entire month, dedicated to examining polarities. These polarities are meant for you to ultimately understand that if up until now you have been doing something and have accepted it as your creed, as your assigned meaning, as your filter, if you will, and so on, you have automatically set for yourself, let's say, the framework within which you operate. This is your particular and specific limitation which you do not wish to step outside of. And no one has imposed this on you, no one has done this to you, and no one has forced you to set this limitation for yourself. You have set it yourself based on your own experience. When a person desires change, they must realize that, in fact, these neural connections, which represent their limitation, filtering, and pathways, must be broken so that the neuron becomes free again, and only then can they choose another version at any time. However, out of habit, because that's what a habit is actually, the merging of neurons in this way shapes our habits. If we are used to, let's say, drinking water after being attacked in some way, then the moment someone tells us, hey, you're such a fool, or you're not thinking straight, our first reaction is to add some kind of liquid into ourselves to reassure ourselves that everything is okay, to preserve our old neural pathways and connections. That's on the one hand.
Yes, if we don't have any liquid on hand, we simply react with aggression, with defense.
We react with aggression, with a defensive stance, and with denial.
And even with the conviction that the other person is wrong.
Absolutely. Throughout this entire complex situation, we start to actively contradict and vehemently deny our environment more and more often. And even when our environment is completely and undeniably correct about our mistakes, about the specific patterns we follow, patterns that can be easily noticed by those around us, even then we deny the environment itself in order to protect and maintain everything that we have worked so hard to achieve. And that's where the great conflict arises, the great conflict inside the brain. This very complex connection within the Cogitality Academy and in the foundational theory of Cogitality in general is what we refer to as filters. From another perspective, they can be called specific types of behavioral models, they can be called ingrained personal habits, or they can even be called meanings we have assigned to our lives. Because when we don't want to examine a certain situation, we have no desire to look at it as such, even though it manifests in our parallel reality. We assign a meaning to it. Let's say fear. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that.
Yes, and even though we understand the principle that everything has two polarities and that one way or another this situation will have both a positive and a negative side. If because of these filters we've accumulated over time, we perceive it as something unwanted, not good, and so on.
Unacceptable to us.
Unacceptable, yes. We always try to run away from it instead of exploring it further.
Instead of going to get to know it. Because we've created the idea that this is unacceptable for us and that this way we will suffer. Yeah, but we haven't even checked it ourselves. And it's not clear whether we will actually suffer.
Yes, that's true. It really is true.
And in this whole situation, each of us starts to defend, based on our own experiences, the position of denial. That's not the case. That's not the case. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. And in this way, at some point, at the same time, in order to agree with the general matrix, with the common way of thinking of humanity itself, and the rules that are imposed in, let's say, the respective country or the respective
framework, generally the place, and so on.
On the one hand, we start lying to ourselves that this is right. Let's say there's some kind of framework. For example, it comes to mind now, like that we should drink 2.5 liters of water a day. And we start attaching importance to the idea that if we don't drink 2.5 liters of water a day, we'll practically die. But that's not true, right? You can easily go 3 months without water and still be alive, healthy, and nothing will happen to you. Not only that, you might even have better connections with the Akashic information field and the source. So in this regard, then it really comes down to depending on exactly how strong and deep-rooted our emotional attachment is, to the specific meaning we assign to our experiences. It also depends on how many fused neurons we have developed within this complex network, which forms the logical or heavily framed version of our daily habits and our long-term behavioral patterns that define our lives.
In other words, how many individual welds we've actually made and how many times we've taken the brain's little welding machine, so to speak, in order to really create a strong bond. The more times we've done it, the stronger the connection becomes.
And then the more effort it takes to break that connection and to finally have the true freedom to choose. Here, I want you to clearly and unequivocally understand that if you set out to make a normal change and these connections haven't been broken yet, it will really feel like an incredibly taxing and enormous effort for you.